Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to discuss one of the important rook games in chess, the Lucena position. So any study of technical rook games will be incomplete without the knowledge of some basic position. So this is one of that basic position that you need to know to crack the rook games. So the Lucena position is the backbone of nearly every single rook game. So just try to take a look at this position. So in this position, white is winning because black's king is cut off along the c file and will not be able to stop this b pawn. But black is put some defense in this position because this black's rook is controlling these two squares and the king is taking control of these two squares. So for that reason, it is not easy for our king to come and promote this pawn. So how we can identify the Lucena position? That's also one of the important questions that you need to know. So here, a Lucena position is where the king has reached this last rank and the pawn has reached the seventh rank and the king should be in front of this pawn and there will be one set of rooks. So here we already discussed that this rook and the king is trying to put some defense. So forcing this rook move away is not a smart decision because now I can throw a check to this king and I can easily stop this pawn from promotion. It's not a smart idea. So we should not force this rook move away. So the rook, okay, let the rook do the job, but we can push the king away to e7. Moving the king to c6 is not a good idea. Now I can play king c8, and uh, the rook cannot give a check now, and this king is blocking the rook's path, and we are ready to promote our pawn to a queen in the next move. So now the king moves to e7. So now the very uh, important move you need to know is not c7. If you move your king to c7, this will be a bad idea because now black is going to give checks to this king. And trying to move the king away from checks looks like a smart idea, but that will eventually gonna lose your pawn in this position. For example, if you try to go near to that pawn, I'm just gonna capture this pawn. So you cannot bring your king to c7 directly. So here in this position, you need to know one of the important techniques in the Lucena position to build a bridge. What we mean by building a bridge. So the king cannot walk now because there is no bridge. Because black is gonna give a lot of checks to that king. So what we need to do is we need to build a bridge with this rook. How we can build a bridge? So building the bridge is very easy. You just need to count the ranks. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Why we need to count the ranks? Counting the ranks will be a super good idea because sometimes we just put our rook on the fourth rank, but it will be the fifth rank. Now we are playing from the white side. The rank is very clear to us. It's fourth rank. But sometimes when you play from the black side, sometimes you need to put the rook from on fifth rank because if you count from that side of the board, it's fifth rank. So to avoid confusion, you just need to count the ranks and put your rook on the fourth rank. So this looks like not. counterintuitive because we just put moving the rook to the fourth rank, but there is a reason behind it. For example, if they make a move like rook a2, now we can just move the king to c7. So black is like, okay, show me what you got. I'm just gonna give you checks. King moves here. Now I'm gonna give you check here. So here in this position, moving the king to these four squares is a bad idea because moving the king to this square, now you're not making any progress. You're just moving your king uh, to uh, to backwards to near to the pawn again, and moving the king here or here. Now you're just gonna lose the pawn. So it is good to stay with your king either on a6 or on c6. For example, let's move our king to c6 now. Now, if I give this check, now you can make progress by moving the king to b5. Now you cannot give a check. You can give a check, but now I'm just gonna block with my rook. And after rook takes, king takes. Now king moves to d7. Now I'll be able to promote my pawn to a queen, and the checkmate with the king and queen, it's very easy. So black is like, okay, I give you a check. Now you cannot move to this square and this square because you're not making any progress. So as we learned, white should stay on this c6 or on a6. So black is like, okay, if I give you a check, now you're gonna come to b5. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a smart move. I'm not going to give a check. I'm just making a waiting move. So if I give a check, your king can only come to b5. Now, if you move your king to c7, you're not making any progress because you're going backward. And if you bring your king to c5, I'm just gonna take your pawn. So here in this position, you can pause this video and try to figure out what's the answer. So here the answer is we need to build another bridge. So we built a bridge for the king, but now this bridge is not walkable. The bridge is broken now. So what we do, we build a another bridge by moving our rook to d5. Now, if they give a check, I'm just gonna play king b6, trying to promote my queen. And if they give another check, I'm just gonna block the check with my rook. And after the rook takes, I'm just gonna take my king, and now I'll be able to promote this pawn. So let's do a revision. Let's do a quick revision. So this is what we call the Lucena position when the king is on the last rank and the pawn is directly in front of it. Um, so this pawn has reached the seventh rank. So and there will be one set of rooks. So how do we start? We cannot force the rook move away. So we just start by forcing the king move away, and we cannot bring our king to the game very easily because they're gonna give a lot of checks to our king. So what we need to do, count the ranks. Don't forget that to count the ranks. And you can even put the rook on the fifth rank. It's possible. But the problem with this move is sometimes the king will be able to attack our rook. So that is why we are just putting our rook on the fourth rank. And after if they tries to control this file, we just gonna come to this file. And if they get check, just gonna come here. And after this check, we're just gonna keep our king c6. Do not move our king to these four squares. Very important, just keep the king either on a6 or on c6. The last time we went c6, we can go to a6 now. So if they give a check now in this position, now I'm just gonna bring my king to b5 and we're just gonna block the check. And don't forget that if your bridge is broken, for example, after they make a move, now your bridge is broken. Now I'm just gonna play this, build another bridge, and if they play this, I'm just gonna play here, trying to promote my pawn to a queen. So this is called as a Lucena position, and if you get this position on the board with the king on the last rank and the pawn on the seventh rank, uh, even with one set of rooks, there is nothing to worry about. You only need to remember this video. So thank you guys. So thank you for watching this video. Please do give a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.